Hi everyone, I'm Karen Monez Abenaza. I am your presenter this morning, and today I am going to discuss about the multiple intelligence, but in the interpersonal intelligence and the naturalistic intelligence only. So, but this intelligence are simply put the intelligence in the history part. Human intelligence is the intellectual capacity of humans as seen in the following mental phenomena. So, intelligence has been defined many ways throughout history in terms such as capacity for logic, abstract thought, understanding, self awareness, communication, learning, emotional knowledge, memory, planning, then the problem solving. Through our intelligence, humans possess the cognitive abilities to learn, form concepts, understand reasons, recognize patterns, comprehend ideas, plan, problem solve, use language to communicate. So, allow me to share my screen to further discuss what are these two intelligence, the interpersonal and the naturalistic intelligence. So here we are in my topic. So now let's have this. What is that? The intrapersonal intelligence, then the naturalistic intelligence. Actually, there are eight intelligence of the Howard Gardner study. So we have the spatial intelligence, which seeing and mapping the world in 3D. So that's the spatial intelligence. Another also we have the musical intelligence, which has the capacity to recognize, create, reproduce, reflect on music. Another also is the logical reasoning, which has the skill to at deductive reasoning, detecting patterns, and logical thinking. Then the here comes the interpersonal intelligence. So the interpersonal intelligence is the communicating and reading people. Another also is the bodily kinesthetic. So the bodily kinesthetic is using one's body in highly differentiated and skilled ways. Then the linguistic intelligence. So for the linguistic intelligence, he is the master of spoken and written language. So that's the intelligence in the linguistic. So now is the intrapersonal. What is intrapersonal? You can ask yourself, who am I? Who are you? Right? So we can have these thoughts in our minds. What am I? What are the things that I can understand of? And what are the things that I don't understand of? What are those why I am different to others, right? So, as Robert John Meehan said, every child has a different learning style and pace. Each child is unique, not only capable of learning but also capable of succeeding. So, as I said, we have eight intelligence, as Gardner says. So, intrapersonal is understanding yourself, what you feel, and what you want. So, you can ask yourself, are you refreshed by time alone? Are you or not? Then, According to C.S. Lewis, no one ever told me that grief feels so like fear. So, in the interpersonal intelligence, you can know what are these. You are the self smart. Interpersonal intelligence is the self smart. And are you self smart? What is interpersonal intelligence, by the way, again? Hmm? So, when it says interpersonal intelligence or the self smart, the simple definition is this is the ability to access, understand, and communicate one's inner feelings. And the traits for this interpersonal intelligence are the self awareness, good instincts, and self motivation. So, you can also ask that what is the difference between the intra and the interpersonal? So, interpersonal is understanding again, this is understanding yourself, what you feel, and what you want. While the interpersonal, this is the sensing people's feelings and motives. So you are so very sensible if you are the interpersonal intelligence. Sensible from the sensible of the feelings from the people's feelings and motives, right? So, did you know that famous people with strong intrapersonal intelligence has the following also? Naa sila'y, what is it? Na they have the interpersonal intelligence, strong intrapersonal intelligence. So we have the Simon Freud. So he has his contribution in the field of human psychology is extraordinary. So his skill at comprehending human traits, personality, and the internal mechanism of a person's mind were all fruits of his highly developed interpersonal intelligence. So that's Simon Freud. So if you want to be Simon Freud, so if you are just like Simon Freud, so you have the interpersonal intelligence. Another also is the Mother Teresa. So Mother Teresa, her interpersonal skills led her to become a caring and selfless teacher. It is only when a person is well conversant with his innermost feelings that he can set goals for him and follow them. So Mother Teresa could serve all her life for the needy, poor, and unwanted with empathy and compassion. So another also is the Swami Vivekananda. He has a Hindu, he was a Hindu rather, a Hindu monk and one of the most celebrated spiritual leaders of India. He worked tirelessly towards betterment of the society and in servitude of the poor and needy. So his words have become goals of self-improvement for the youth of the country. So another is Anne Frank. Are you familiar with Anne Frank? Who is Anne Frank? So she was or she had the habit of putting her thoughts in a diary, which is linked to the attribute of self-reflection. Her diary, which was published posthumously as a book, provides a vivid and poignant glimpse into the world of a young Jewish girl living in Nazi occupied Holland. So, for this, when we say the interpersonal intelligence people are adept at looking inward and figuring out their own feelings, motivations, and goals. We are quintessentially introspective. They analyze themselves and seek understanding. People with interpersonal intelligence are intuitive and usually introverted. They learn independently and through reflection. That's the intrapersonal intelligence. So, philosophy, psychology, and theology are often of interest to people with intrapersonal intelligence. So they enjoy journaling because it helps them learn about themselves. They are also good at helping others understand themselves. They are able to predict the reactions of themselves and others. So, interpersonal is one of several multiple intelligence. When I say multiple, it's that's many. So, one of the intelligence that we have or that you have. So, what are the characteristics of interpersonal intelligence? Or but before that, we will have those intrapersonal intelligence dates back to antiquity. So they are the people who contributed in the society. For the Greek philosopher Aristotle, born 384 BC, was an example. So he is widely credited as the first scholar to study logic, along with Plato and Socrates. Aristotle was one of the founders of Western philosophy. His dedication to the study of reason required him to examine his own internal motivations, giving him great intrapersonal intelligence. So I guess you already know who Aristotle was, what his contribution, also Plato and Socrates. So Aristotle's work would go on to make an impact on the 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He was an existentialist who exemplified Gardner's theory on existential intelligence. However, Nietzsche also wrote about the forms of spiritual metamorphosis necessary to lead a meaningful life. His work would influence the novelist Franz Kafka, who wrote The Metamorphoses. This 1915 story is about traveling salesman Grigor Samsa, who awakens to find himself transformed into an insect. But the story is really about Samsa's deep internal introspection. Another also is in the 19th century, thinking gifted with self awareness is what Whitman, a poet and an author of Leaves of Grass. Whitman and other writers, including Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, were transcendentalists. So, transcendentalism was a social and philosophical movement that surfaced during the 1800s. It emphasized the importance of the individual and was influenced by Plato. Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle are celebrated as some of the greatest minds ever. But during the 20th century, that honor went to theoretical physicist Albert Einstein. One of the history's greatest scientists, Einstein liked to spend time thinking during long walks. On these strolls, he thought deeply and formulated his mathematical theories about the cosmos and the way the universe works. So his deep thinking sharpened his interpersonal intelligence. Like Einstein, people with high interpersonal intelligence are self motivated, introverted, spend lots of time alone, and work independently. Are you that kind of people? So you are the interpersonal intelligence if you are that kind of person. They also tend to enjoy writing in journals, which Anne Frank did during tragic circumstances. Before Her 1945 death at age 15 during the Holocaust, she spent much of World War II hidden in an attic with her family. While in hiding, Anne wrote a diary detailing her hopes, desires, and fears in such a moving way that the journal remains one of the world's most widely known books. Okay, so what are the characteristics of people with intrapersonal intelligence? So the journey to know and understand others, people with intrapersonal intelligence starts with knowing themselves. Only after getting to know oneself will one have a chance to understand other people, their inner worlds and thoughts. Individuals with high interpersonal intelligence potentially are highly motivated to apply learnings from life to their own lives and values. These people are often very determined to achieve their goals. They are intuitive, self aware, spends time reflecting, likes to learn about self, philosophical, independent, enjoys journaling, works well alone, usually introverted, interested in self employment. Another also characteristic or additional characteristic of people with interpersonal intelligence is they can easily apply what they have learned to their own lives. They start getting to know other people by getting to know themselves. They enjoy being alone and dealing with something alone. Their intuition is strong. Although they are aware of their strength, they often do not boast about it. They are independent and have high self confidence. They can control many feelings, especially anger. Young people may be more introverted compared to their peers. They like to process the events they've experienced. They seek to understand their own mistakes in any negative events they have experienced in order to avoid similar situation in the future. They tend to express their feelings and thoughts in creative ways, for example, through writing or music. Development is inevitable for people with high intrapersonal intelligence potential. They can constantly look for new life philosophies and ways to improve themselves. So, the careers for the intrapersonal people, they are entrepreneur, farmer, they can be also a farmer, a historian, inventor, librarian, philosopher, psychologist, scientist, theologian, counselor. So that's are the careers of the interpersonal intelligence. So these are the other characters that I mentioned before. So the Howard Gardner's inspiration. You can also ask what inspiration of Howard. So Howard Gardner is a professor of cognition and education at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. He uses the late English writer Virginia Woolf as an example of a person with a high level of interpersonal intelligence. He has noted how in her essay, A Sketch of the Past, Woolf discusses the cotton wool of existence or the various mundane events of life. She contrasts this cotton wool with three specific poignant childhood memories. So, the key point there for Howard Gardner's inspiration is that it's not simply that Wolf is taking about her childhood, it's that she is able to look inward, examine her innermost feelings, and articulate them. Many people struggle to identify their deepest feelings, let alone discuss them in a way that others can understand. So, how to enhance intrapersonal intelligence? How we can help people? who has this kind of intelligence, but they didn't know that they have. So, teachers can help students enhance and strengthen their interpersonal intelligence by having them journal regularly and write reflections on the topics covered in class. So they can also assign students independent projects and incorporate graphics like mind maps. You like playing this kind of activities? Do you like this mind maps? So mind maps help them organize their thoughts. Finally, just having students imagine themselves as an individual from a different time period can help them focus and work. So, here are the useful tips for the development of people with interpersonal intelligence. So, as Howard Gardner said, everything with learning can be taught in different ways. The, the diversity of this method stimulates multiple intelligence. So, by using effective learning tools and exercises, you can always develop your cognitive potential in different ways. Children with intrapersonal intelligence are aware of their intelligence. They know what goals they want to achieve and what they need to do to achieve them. They learn from their mistakes and often enjoy individual work. How is intrapersonal intelligence developed? What needs to be done to develop intrapersonal intelligence potential? So, here are some development suggestions for those who want to improve their interpersonal intelligence. You can add in your list, or you can do this if you don't have the following tips. So, first tips for the development of people with interpersonal intelligence is keep a diary. As I mentioned earlier, that you can have a journal. People in the past who has this kind of intelligence are writing a journal just like Anne Frank did, right? So you can have your a diary. You can keep a diary. A diary can help you see what's going on around you from a different angle. Routinely keeping a diary also helps create awareness. If it seems old school to write a diary, it can also be logged using a voice recorder. Writing a diary reminds you of your goals and learning in life. It offers a place where you can hold a deliberate, thoughtful conversation with yourself, as Robin Sharma said. So, second one is you take thinking breaks. You will take thinking breaks. So, if your mind is occupied, if yourself is occupied, pause, take a break for yourself so you can think. You can think peacefully. So, take thinking breaks is one of greatest abilities of mankind. If you think, you can develop your interpersonal intelligence with short thought breaks. It doesn't matter what you think. You will be shocked by the impact of thought journeys during your short breaks in a day. So again, pause. Taking a break so you can think what you want to think. Okay, what is another? Another also is consider all types of intelligence. So you should put all the intelligence that um, just like those spatial, kinesthetic, linguistic, you can also consider those intelligence. So if we use Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, we can say that one person can be successful in more than one intelligence field. Apart from your interpersonal intelligence, you can improve yourself in many areas, especially visual and verbal intelligence. So, according to Howard Gardner, he says in his interview, although I have worked on many subjects and written books, I have never lost interest in multiple types of intelligence. So, consider all types of intelligence because you may think that, okay, I have this kind of intelligence. I have this multiple of intelligence, not only one, but many, multiple of them. So, another also is develop social habits. So you will develop social habits. That's not like um, going some places that you're not acquainted to, or you're not uh, going to, or you're going to have this kind of habits because you want to relax yourself. So develop social habits. Interpersonal intelligence does not only apply to a person's inner thoughts and feelings. So people with high interpersonal intelligence can also understand other people's feelings and thoughts, which is a very important leadership traits. So children with high interpersonal intelligence potential may have difficulty adapting to social settings, but this is the kind of problem that can be overcome with social habits. So this kind of pandemic, children didn't develop more of their social habits because they are not allowed to go out. Instead, they are staying at home, right? So, but for this kind of intelligence, children must develop their social habits. As that's not like also the children, but also the adults. So, children with high interpersonal intelligence potential may have difficulty adapting to social settings. But this is the kind of problem that can be overcome with social habits. More involvement among social communities can help manage and eventually eliminate social anxiety. So let your child go outside, play outside, so they can socialize the other children or the other kids. Another also is be involved in personal development activities or read books. So if your children love to read books, so let them be. Don't interrupt them. We have mentioned that children with high intrapersonal intelligence may constantly seek to develop themselves. To support them, you can your child toward yourself personal development activities and age appropriate personal development books. So there are books that are appropriate for the children. So don't let them read those books that are uh, high thinking skills or intelligence for them. But sometimes, as an adult, we want to, our children to be more intelligent. So we give them books that are not suitable for them. But let them read books that are suitable for their age. Because child-friendly workshops are great social activities for personal development. With this type of education, children develop the right skill set for education 4.0. So they can develop their education, their skills or personal development. So again, intrapersonal intelligence sets their goals. Reflects, they can reflect, and they can also produce interest and the like to works alone. So that's the intrapersonal intelligence. That's the person or the people who have this kind, if you observe people who has this kind of goals, and they can also pursue interest and works alone, they are intrapersonal intelligence. So you must understand yourself, what you feel and what you want. Understand is the intrapersonal. Understanding yourself, what you feel and what you want. So that's the intrapersonal intelligence. Okay? So here is the quote that Leonardo da Vinci has. Anyone who conducts an argument by appealing to authority is not using his intelligence. He is just using his memory. He is using his memory. So, another intelligence that we have or that we are going to discuss is the naturalistic intelligence. So, earth and sky, woods and fields, lakes and rivers, the mountain and the sea are excellent schoolmaster and teach some of us more than we can ever learn from books, according to John Lubbock. So that's the what they are, what type of intelligence they have. Did you know children with strong naturalistic intelligence enjoys identifying different plants and flowers, or they are the plants lover. Also, the likes to hike, camp, and be outdoors, or called as nature lover. Hmm? So, enjoys caring, taming, and interacting with animals, or they are the animal lover. Notice patterns and things from nature easily. Love collecting plants, flowers, rocks, and even stones. Care about environmental issues. So, what's your dominant intelligence? Are you the intrapersonal or the naturalistic intelligence? Hmm? What to know about your children's area of interest? You want to know about your children's area of interest? So, we will discover later. Are you curious? What is the naturalistic intelligence? What is natural intelligence? Hmm? So, natural intelligence or the naturalist intelligence is the biological computational capacity that focuses on one's relations with our natural surroundings. The human ability to categorize living things and other features of the natural world, including clouds and rock configurations. This ability was of great value to our ancient hunter-gatherers and farmers, and modern botanists, geologists, and geologists have a very high naturalist intelligence. So how psychologists define intelligence, by the way? So psychologists define intelligence as the ability to recognize problems, the ability to solve the problems, and the ability to learn. So, what are the characteristics of naturalistic intelligence? According to Gardner, naturalistic intelligence is the ability to identify, classify, and manipulate elements of the environment, objects, animals, or plants. As a general rule, people with high naturalistic intelligence have the following characteristics. So, they express a desire to understand how things work. They can care about the environment and like to be in touch with nature. They are also like to be adventure. Go to the environment to or the forest. They are good at identifying fauna and flora. So they are the botanist or the geologist. They like to explore and discover new species and behaviors. They are interested in using tools to help observation, microscopes, binoculars, telescopes, and other scopes. They show an interest in science careers, biology, botany, chemistry, geology, and others. So, children having naturalistic intelligence may exhibit some of the following characteristics that we mentioned. They may have keen sensory skills or the sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Readily use heightened sensor skills to notice and categorize things from the natural world. They also like to be outside or like outside activities like gardening, walks, or field trips geared toward observing nature or natural phenomena. Another also is for the children who has this naturalistic intelligence, they notice patterns easily from the surroundings like differences, similarities, anomalies. So we mentioned that earlier that they like patterns. And also they are interested and care about animals or plants. And notice things in the environment others often miss. Also create, keep, or have collections, scrapbooks, logs, or journals about natural objects. This may include written observations, drawings, pictures, and photographs of specimens. They are also be very interested from an early age in television shows, videos, books, or objects from or about nature, science, or animals. Easily learn characteristics, names, categorizations, and data about objects or species found in the natural world. So, children who have this may exhibit the following characteristics that I have mentioned earlier. So, for the career for the naturalistic characteristics, they are animal trainer, breeder, farmer, park ranger, geologist, horticulturist, landscaper, marine biologist, veterinarian, arborist, or others that involve in nature. So activities that develop naturalistic intelligence. Generally, children with naturalistic intelligence show an inclination towards the natural world as well as towards what human beings have created. And they often entertain themselves by observing details like lines of ants, the flight of birds, or the activities of insects. What are the movements of environment or the nature? People who has this kind of intelligence, they notice everything. So there are different activities that can help a child develop their naturalistic intelligence, which can be grouped into contact. So contact, these are the nature walks through the woods or in the mountains, camping, visit to zoos and aquariums. Another also is observation. Once in contact with nature, to strengthen this type of intelligence, it is important to closely observe the environment. See the highlight the words there. Another also exploration. A magnifying glass, a microscope or binoculars help make the experience more interactive and entertaining, especially to children. Classification: with the help of parents, books, or the internet, the child must learn to classify what they find. They can create a field diary with annotations and photos. Hobby: encourage the youngest to have hobbies such as planting seeds at home or collecting fossils, stones, leaves, and others. So, history about these people who has the high naturalistic intelligence. Characters of people. So some of the historical figures considered to have the highest naturalistic intelligence include Charles Darwin. So do you remember the discovery of Charles Darwin about the evolution of man or the origin of species of Alexander von Humboldt, a Prussian explorer and naturalist considered the father of modern geography? Important figures in more recent times include the French oceanographer Jacques Cousteau and the American astronomer Carl Sagan, both great communications who help awaken and improve the naturalistic intelligence of an entire generation. So another also that who has this kind of intelligence is E.O. Wilson, the world's greatest naturalist and the father of sociobiology, wrote a 1990 book, Ants, one of two books which he won the Pulitzer Prize, he, that explain how these insects create social structures, organizations, and hierarchies, traits that we are once thought only humans possessed. Then another is John James Audubon. This naturalist created a collection of paintings, Birds of America, published in four volumes from 1827 to 1838. Audubon is considered the father of the conservationist movement and inspired millions to take to the woods, lakes, and mountains in search of rare bird sighting. So that's the other also characteristic of people who has a high intelligence. So using the natural intelligence in class, I have this uh, actually this presentation is the compilation of some research and different uh, websites. So using the naturalistic intelligence in class, two stanzas highlight Wordsworth's enthusiasm for nature as a teacher for all. So up, up, my friend, and quit your books, or surely you'll grow double. Up, my friend, and clear your looks. Why all this toil and trouble? Come forth into the light of things. Let nature be your teacher. So if you are teaching your child or your students who has this kind of intelligence, let them explore the environment. Give them the tools and equipments that they're going to use for their study so they can learn and adapt in your teaching style or in the teaching environment that you have. So enhancing a student's naturalist intelligence. So students with naturalist intelligence are interested in conservation and recycling, enjoy gardening, like animals, like to be outside, are interested in the weather and feel a connection to the earth. As a teacher, you can enhance and strengthen your students' naturalist intelligence by having them. Okay? What are they? Attending class outside. Keep a nature journal to record change or discoveries in nature. Illustrate discoveries in nature. Read books and articles about nature and the environment. Write articles about nature, poems, short stories, news articles, giving lessons on weather and nature, performing skits about nature and cycles, conduct research on local foliage. So you observe that if you have kids, if you're a mother, you observe that your child tend to ask questions that you don't know how to answer. So they have kind of multiple intelligence or an intelligence that you don't have. So if they have that kind of intelligence and you know what multiple intelligence is or are, let them do the things that develop their skills, their learning styles. So students who have naturalist intelligence may take informed action as suggested in the social studies standard. In order to preserve the environment, they may write letters, petition their local politicians, or work with others to create green spaces in their communities. That's why we have a community or persons who made an executive order or an republic act to the what you call that republic act in the Philippines is when the times of the Boracay temporary closure or that republic act is the environmental act and the waste management. So that person has a naturalistic intelligence. So another also that Gardner suggests bringing what he calls the summer culture into the rest of the year and into the learning environment. Send students outside, take them on short hikes, teach them how to observe and identify plants and animals, and help them get back to nature. This is the best way, says Gardner, to increase their natural intelligence. So that's the tips to improve your child's naturalistic intelligence. Again, take your child on a nature walk and teach about environment. Encourage your child to read, write, just nothing about nature, and plan short hikes and picnics. So there are also evaluation or critical evaluation of this study. Cognitive psychologists such as Waterhouse 2006 claim that there is no empirical evidence to the validity of the theory of multiple intelligence. So, some responses to this criticism include that the multiple intelligences theory doesn't dispute the existence of the G factor. It proposes that it is equal along with the other intelligences. Many critics overlook the inclusions criteria set forth by Gardner. So Gardner admits that traditional psychologists were valid is criticizing the lack of operational definitions for the intelligence. That is to figure out how to measure and test the various competences. So he developed this theory to challenge academic psychologists and therefore did not present many educational suggestions. For this reason, teachers and educators were able to take the theory and apply it as they saw fit. As it gained popularity in this field, Gardner has maintained that practitioners should determine the theory's best use in classrooms. He has often declined opportunities to aid in curriculum development that uses multiple intelligence theory, opting to only provide feedback at most. Most of the criticism has come from those removed from the classroom, such as journalists and academics. Educators are not typically tied to the same standard of evidence and are less concerned with abstract inconsistencies, which has given them the freedom to apply it with their students and let the results speak for itself, as Armstrong 2019. So, for the implications for learning in this study, Individualized education has typically been reserved for the wealthy and others who could afford to hire tutors to address individual students' needs. Techno- Technology has now made it possible for more people to access a variety of teachings and assessments depending on their needs. Pluralization, the idea that topics and skills should be taught in more than one way, activates individuals' multiple intelligence. So, presenting a variety of activities and approaches to learning helps reach all students and encourages them to be able to think about the subjects from various perspectives, deepening their knowledge of the topic. So, a common misconception about the theory of multiple intelligence is that it is synonymous with learning styles. Gardner states that learning styles refer to the way an individual is most comfortable approaching a range of tasks and materials. Multiple intelligence theory states that everyone has all eight intelligences at varying degrees of proficiency, and an individual's learning style is unrelated to the areas in which they are the most intelligent. For example, someone with linguistic intelligence may not necessarily learn best through writing and reading. So, classifying students by their learning styles or intelligences alone may limit their potential for learning. Research shows also that students are more engaged and learn best when they are given various ways to demonstrate their knowledge and skills, which also helps teachers more accurately assess student learning. So, how does the multiple intelligence theory help students? So, in any classroom setting from preschool to college, students learn differently. Each student is gifted and challenged by his or her learning abilities and preferences. Howard Gardner's intelligences. Howard Gardner's defined these learning abilities and preferences as intelligences. So Gardner developed the theory of multiple intelligence to explain how humans learn differently from one another. So the theory does not state that a person only has one the nine intelligences, but rather is stronger in some than the others. So we have also these reinforced concepts. A concept in the classroom setting may be a new skill, knowledge, or some combination of both. Teachers build upon what was learned yesterday, last week, or even last year. Repeating a lesson on a concept improves learning. So the teacher pulling from the theory of multiple intelligence can reinforce the learning with different types of activities. And also, we are not experts at the concept of driving the first time we get behind the steering wheel, but begin to master the concept each time we practice the skill of driving. So the same true for learning in the classroom. For example, students strong in the mathematical logical intelligence will do well with the pencil and paper task of adding simple fractions. So that's the reinforcement from the discussion that you give to your students, right? And keep it fresh. Teaching to the multiple intelligences allows the teacher to keep the learning environment fresh by changing up the teaching method. An activity to start the day may involve movement that appeals to the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Mixing up your not not to be confused with recess or free time. This is a brief out of this learning time to introduce the day's lesson. Whether dance, building with large blocks, or assembling a simple birdhouse, this bodily kinesthetic activity is a structured lesson outside the confines of the desk. Mixing up your teaching methods keeps students interested in the lesson. Do not teach them only one type of intelligence. So, as a diverse type of learners, to teach them a multiple intelligence. So, you will know what intelligence they have. So, you will know who are they. So, the class in classroom management, people feel success when a new concept is mastered. For adults in the workforce, failure to learn a new task can be viewed as a chance to try again. For students, the sense of failure may cause them to misbehave, be apathetic, not pay attention, or disrupt the class. A student feel success in learning, problem behavior decreases. So the learner with strength and the using the different intelligence to teach a concept allows each of your diverse learners a chance to succeed of at learning. The learner with strength in the visual spatial intelligence will do well with drawing and puzzles. Students with strength in the linguistic intelligence will do well with a written report over a reading assignment, while those dominant in intrapersonal intelligence excel at classroom discussion of what was read. So, as students feel success in learning, problem behavior decreases, right? And teaching to a student's strength help increase learning success. Now, in assessing the learning of students by using a variety of teaching strategies across the multiple intelligence, the teacher can assess or measure student learning. The assessment could be written or oral test, original artwork by the student, a building task, or some other activity which gives the teacher an idea of how well the student learned the new concept. For instance, after successfully assembling a small engine, students in a technical college could be assessed by developing a how to manual complete with verbal instructions and diagrams. So, the teacher can then measure how well students master the concept by the completeness and accuracy of the written manual, while students tapped into three intelligences to learn and master the concept. So we also have the multiple intelligence are not the same as learning styles. So learning styles are how we approach different tasks, whereas multiple intelligence are a representation of different intellectual abilities. We process information in a variety of different ways, just like visual or see, auditory or hear, and kinesthetic or touch, and reflective think, and others. However, learning experiences do not have to relate directly to your strongest area of intelligence, just like someone with a more linguistic learning does not have to learn primarily through lectures. Often, the easiest path to understand is through multiple avenues. Limiting learning to a single avenue can be counterproductive. Our brain are complex. We learn different skills in different ways. Sometimes it is easier to fully understand a concept by using multiple avenues, just like seeing, hearing, and interacting with the concept to embed understanding, right? So, these are the in putting our intelligence, you must keep in mind that each of us are different. Do not tell that ay bugo ko. Wa ko kahibaw anak man. No, don't say that. Instead, discover what intelligence that you have. Discover. Do not say, no, I don't know that. I can't do that. Yes, you can. If you exert effort into it. So, according to Albert Einstein, everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that is stupid. Okay, so here are the references for my presentation. Thank you for listening. Happy learning. God bless everyone. And keep safe. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions of what I am presenting to? Or if you want to ask, just write in the chat box or the comment section of our class. Thank you. And actually, this is my first time in recording a video of my presentation because I'm not using to have this in my class. So that's it. That's all, everyone. Thank you. Have a blessed day.